TV, Becoming Everything You Are, sponsored by Raytheon Technologies, and I'm your host, Marcia Hughes. During the Black Engineer of the Year Awards Conference, I've assisted participants in unearthing their stellar achievements in STEM excellence with the goal of revealing their career and advancing brilliance of STEM essence. BEA STEM Conference is the place where trailblazing STEM professionals turn their STEM story into STEM stardom. And now, please welcome our next guest. Originally from Nigeria, Wole Akinyemi's affinity for all things science and his love of learning enabled outstanding performance in his undergraduate studies in mechanical engineering. Graduating top of the class at Obafemi Awolowo University, he enrolled for further studies at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, from which he earned a master's and a PhD degree in mechanical engineering. It was at MIT that he was introduced to and acquired a passion for internal combustion engine technology development. Hello.
Hello, Marcia.
Listen, you're doing some wonderful work. So what took you into STEM?
I always loved math growing up, to be honest. Math and science were my passion. And so the leap to STEM was natural for me, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. When you were a little boy, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be an engineer. Actually, I vacillated between being an engineer and a scientist. It depended on the day of the week, I guess. But I just knew that I wanted to take scientific principles and translate that into, making lives better, essentially.
So what was it that encouraged you or stimulated you to get into STEM? What happened as a little boy growing up for you to create this passion and such success today?
I think it was probably the children's books that I read and following lots of fantasy stories about scientists that turn the world around. And I thought, hey, that sounds like a cool thing to try to do. And I guess I got my example from those kind of stories. And I always aspired to be a part of that cohort, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. So congratulations on your award. What do you think about winning this award? What does it mean to you?
It's a great honor, and I want to thank everyone that believed that I could get the award and encouraged me to put my name in for the nomination. I think back to the work that I've been able to do as an engineer, and frankly, I am proud of it, and I am glad to have had the opportunity to do it, and I'm just honored that that work has been recognized with the award that I was given.
And that's huge.
Thank you.
Yes, it's huge. And so in looking today at the landscape across this nation, what do you think are 4 things that the United States educational system should be doing to develop young engineers and scientists?
Well, well, 4 things, right?
Okay, that's fine. As many, whatever you want to come up with. You don't have to. Don't let me stunt you.
I think the critical thing really is giving aspiring engineers opportunity to be close to the use of the product or use of products that we'll be developing. So opportunities for engineers to immerse themselves in the product creation process, in the engineering process, in seeing what actually works, in translating the learnings that we get in school into the product creation discipline, because it is a discipline, and realizing all the processes that enable that successful product creation, and embracing the use of those processes, and inculcating them into the way they work early on, rather than learning all the things after they get out of school. So internship opportunities are important. Um, Closer affiliation between the learning process in schools and industry is important. So having industry come in frequently to advise on how to perhaps mold the classes that are being taught and the educational opportunities that have been offered, I think is important. And that just makes the graduating engineers more ready to hit the ground running when they get into the.
I've heard that term before, hit the ground running. What does that look like in your company?
Hitting the ground running means that you already have an understanding of the basic engineering principles of product creation, right? So you have gone beyond the book learning, and you are now ready to get into the rigor and the discipline of what it takes to mature product through the the technology development phase, and the product creation phase, and the product verification and validation phases. You understand all those different aspects of the maturation of product, and you embrace those different aspects of it, and you're ready to jump in to get the work done. That's what hitting the ground running means.
Mm-hmm. Too often, we don't always hit the ground running because we're trying to figure out who's on first and what's on second, right?
That's absolutely right. Yes. Yes,
And
for
so,
sure.
and so, what do you think, in looking at the landscape of the educational system in the United States, what do you think are two or three things, looking at young people today, looking at the positions and jobs of today and tomorrow? What should our education administrators be doing to make certain that young people of color are laying the proper foundation for their career, their future? What should we be doing as a nation, as parents, as neighbors, as legislators? What should we be doing to, in a holistic approach, to move this further down the road?
Um, I I honestly believe that we win that race with connecting early with our people,
Mm,
letting them see um, that there are options for them that they can pursue in the world of of engineering, of STEM, of product creation. Holding up to them those examples of, you can be like this, you can do this. Like I said, in my case, I was immersed early in stories, in books, in frankly examples around me of people did that do what I do today, and that created in me the aspiration to do just that. I think
mhm,
the examples we hold up to ourselves, to our people, to our young ones, frankly, are the people that they aspire to be. And so making sure that we do um, create those aspirational figures, or we allow them to see those aspirational figures, and they allow them to want to emulate those people and be like those people, and do what those people do. I
mhm,
think will really spur the interest in pursuing those lines of education, pursuing
mhm,
those lines of work, pursuing those lines of professional advancement.
mhm. One of the things I used to say 100 years ago people were trying to get me to do a job that was available. And I was just playing around with it. And I said, I don't see myself there. Sometimes you got to see yourself
You got to
there.
see yourself there. That's absolutely right, Marsha. Yes, yes.
Right. And they just knew that job had my name on it, but I couldn't see myself getting on that elevator, sitting in that chair, doing whatever that I couldn't see myself there. And I said that to somebody years ago, and they were like, right. Because if you can't see yourself doing what you're talking about, why are you even have this conversation?
Right. That's right. That's absolutely right. So how do we help them see themselves there? Right.
There you go. That's the $50,000 question. How do we help them identify how they're supposed to see themselves sitting wherever that is?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so in looking at, because I think one of the best things here is the Black Engineer of the Year Awards is in its 37th year. There have been 37 Black Engineers of the Year, and I don't know how many thousands of other winners that have participated through 37 years, right? And when you go down into the rest of that hotel, are you at the hotel with the event?
No, not yet. I'm
Not yet.
still making my way over there.
Okay. And so what you'll see is what you probably have seen before, but all of a sudden there becomes this familiar kind of experience, right? That all of people who look like us creating, designing, building everything that we need, and it has melanin in it.
Yep. Yep.
Right? What would you tell parents today and how to help their daughters and sons reach those levels that we're talking about and that we see here?
I think it's everything we've talked about already, Marsha. I think it is we need to recognize that yes, that this stuff might seem hard, right? And maybe some people might say, well, I've tried to do science, I've tried to do math, and it just, I just couldn't get past the first, get past go in trying to do that. Well, that shouldn't be the end of that conversation, right? You will find that there could be stumbling blocks along the way, but frankly, there should be people that we can call upon to help to get us past the stumbling blocks. But at the end of the day, how do we get our folks to see themselves there, just like we talked about? What are the things we need to do to orchestrate that vision in our young folks? Let's do that. Let's get them connected with people like us that have run the race before us. You said, like you said before, 37 years of history that we can lean on. Frankly, let's lean on that. Let's read those stories. Let's immerse ourselves in them. Let's realize that this field of this history that we have behind us can propel us forward and allow that is essentially a birthing of. It's almost like a snowballing effect in front of us. Like, let's allow that to happen. But at the same time, also let's accelerate it with everything we can do to cause the sparks that are out there to be lit. There are lots of us out there. Let's find them. Let's encourage them. Let's inspire them, and let's get them moving in that direction.
I totally agree, and it's there's almost a rally call, right?
Absolutely.
When the Civil War, whatever, charge, right? And they're
That's
on the
right.
horses, and they got somebody's got on gray, somebody's got on blue, and whatever, and they're headed for the
That's right.
same goal, right?
Yep. Yep.
And so, how do we lead that charge, right? How do we lead that charge where it becomes mandatory internally through this love of Black engineer, Bea, that this charge, this clarion call that says we're going to accomplish this in X amount of number of years. This is what we want to do. We want X amount of number of young Black engineers, scientists, technologists, designers, creators, whatever, making it happen.
I think we need to do more ourselves. We that are fortunate enough to excel in this area need to do more ourselves to reach back into the communities where we came from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reach back into the people that we know. Again, reach back into the people that might be struggling and don't see themselves there, and help them to see themselves there.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are those connections that I can make in those communities, in those communities, in my communities? What are the people that I can inspire? I think with us having that goal of being part of that snowballing effect, then we can be part of getting to see that change that we so badly desire to see.
Yeah, I think, who was that said, "Be the change that you want to see"? That was quoted from somebody, and when you look at that, and we see so many firsts, we have a lot of firsts, right? We have
That's
a lot
right.
of firsts,
Yeah.
and as we build on what we already have, this whole business of STEM can change our world. And I'm gonna say it unapologetically, change our world, right? The
Right.
communities in which we live, the streets that we all live in. We need to change our world and have those expectations. So how do we also get into a legislative, or is there a legislative way that all of these great scientists and engineers, they're all here, they're all going to be here, it's thousands, there's just thousands of people, there's thousands of people all focused on the same thing. I just love it, right? And so you have this energy, this movement, you have this movement. And how do we take this movement and get these kids in bulk, en masse, to be able to see this and want to be part of this big parade, right? This big parade that is carrying the torch for success for our babies.
I think it's whatever those advocacy opportunities that we have in front of us that we have to pursue, Marsha. So again, as we are reaching back into our communities and trying to get involved and trying to link arms with people around us to propel our collective self forward, then whatever opportunities we have to speak to the powers that be, take advantage of that also, and rally them into this clarion call that we just talked about. Not taking advantage of every single opportunity, not neglecting to speak up, but trying to realize what are those things that could help the my younger self that's coming up. What are those things that could remove those stumbling blocks from the younger me that could enable them to be propelled across their particular stumbling block? What are those things that could help? Trying to figure those out, and then joining hands with those people of like mind on the legislative front and trying to get those changes made, and making advocacy for those changes. That's all we have to do. I think the critical thing really is to look for opportunities and pursue those opportunities, and do what we can to enable change.
Mm-hmm. I have one other question. I know we're running out of time, but in looking at the way that we're teaching our young people, and they're doing this work, but how often do they really get to see people who look like us to encourage them if they're not getting that encouragement at home. What are some of the things that we can do as an organization or organizations, plural, that we have a lot of organizations. How do we bring them all together to be able to take this? Here's where the top jobs are coming, and they're coming out of STEM. How do we get our country, our people, our community to focus on our children being educated or taught or trained or supported or mentored to accomplish those goals and objectives that we see fit for them to have?
I think it's through events like this. Frankly, it's through, and I guess maybe what we need is more and more of those, right? So, what are those events that celebrate the achievements of, that celebrate our achievements, and trumpet it out loud so that example is out there for people to see and to frankly join in the celebration, and to, in the momentum of that celebration, hold that up as an example for others to follow. So to the extent that we have BEAR, to the extent that we have NISP, to the extent that we have all these platforms that recognize what our community has done, let's continue to do just that, do more and more of that, and make sure that we use the momentum from those celebrations, those laudatory events. Use that momentum to don't just let it be the celebration itself, but also the opportunity to point people saying, look, this is what has been done. There's so much more to do. What are you going to do? Are you going to join in this movement, if you will, this clarion call that's going forth to our people?
I love that. A clarion call that handles the movement, that creates the movement. And so in looking at your career and all that you've done and the accomplishments that you've made, what's next for you?
I think it's more of the same. I had the opportunity to talk to a young a high school student that I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and just reflecting on my journey. And what I told her was, look, I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the opportunity to interact with people, work with teams to deliver engineering solutions. And I cannot imagine doing anything else, and I don't really want to do anything else. And
that's great.
I just want the opportunity to continue to do what I do for quite a while yet. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow and the day after and the day after of coming in and figuring out what problem we have to solve, working with a team, and coming up with a solution to those problems.
I love it. Wole Akinyemi, thank you so much for your time. Now, we're going to see you next year.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that too, Marsha.
We're going to see you next year. We're going to see you next year. We're going to see you next year. I'm going to talk about you bad if you don't show up, because we're going to be live next year. But we appreciate you. Congratulations on your award. Congratulations in all the work that you're doing to be transformational in your communities. And I look forward to hearing about who the next president is going to be in Nigeria.
You and me both, Marsha. You and me both.
Okay. Thank you,
Marsha.
so much. Take care. God bless.
You too. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye-bye.